Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Ayobami Adedinni, and I'm the founder of the Energy Intelligence. Uh, the Energy Intelligence is a media research consultancy that seeks to promote sustainable practices across all sectors. For the past 2 years, we have been the voice of the African energy transition narrative. Today, we have our guest on the first episode of the African CEOs Insight. So, on this episode, CEOs from African origin share with us strategies on the sustainable energy future. And I'm pleased to have here our guest, Mr. Dipo Adesina. Hi, Dipo.
Hey, what's going on, Ayobami? How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, great. So, let's jump into the conversation. What's electric mobility?
You said, what is electric mobility?
Why? Why did you go into electric mobility? I understand that you are the co-founder of GuraRide. GuraRide is the Rwanda e-mobility startup. So I want to understand why e-mobility.
Yeah, I think when you consider places like Africa, where we're used to the typical way of transportation, which is based on emission-based vehicles and so on. And if you look at the Western world, most of the different countries are now transitioning into e-mobility. So when we goal was to find out what country was best suitable for e-mobility. Of course, we looked at different countries until we settled down in Rwanda based on what their goal was when it comes to e-mobility. Rwanda is a place where people already are used to cycling, right? They're used to, in fact, I think once a month in Rwanda, they have what we call a no car free day. Which is a day where there are no cars moving around, but you're riding bicycles, right? Just to promote healthy living. So when we saw those types of infrastructures in place, we knew that that was a great place for us to start up, this idea of, bike sharing, e-mobility in Rwanda.
Oh. Awesome. So I like to understand. You've been an entrepreneur in the African market for quite a while now. Can you share with us some of the challenges you've encountered, and how have you been able to overcome them?
So the line broke up a little bit. Can you repeat that question?
Okay, you've been an entrepreneur in the African market for a while, right? So
Yes.
I like to understand what are some of the challenges you've encountered, and how have you been able to surmount them?
Oh, awesome. Well, as you would know, part of the big challenges that Africa as a whole faces is the infrastructure, instability. So when we first started out in ago, there were so many challenges because what we were used to in the diaspora is not what we're seeing in Africa as a whole. So we kind of had to, change our way of doing things to fit into the climate of where we're, whatever country we're doing business in. Number two is the culture, right? So when you're going into, even though we're Nigerians, right, the way Nigerians do business in Nigeria is different from the way we Nigerians in diaspora. So you have to kind of learn a different way of doing business that you're not used to if you want to move ahead. Number two, another thing is just people, right? People in general, culture. So when you take, for example, a place like Rwanda, right? Even though they probably have one of the best infrastructures in Africa, Rwandese are a lot different than any other Africans, right? As far as like how they do their business. For example, a very fast-paced business. In Rwanda, things happen a little bit slower than you anticipate. So some of our businesses that we thought would take only 6 months to a year to get up and running took us almost 2.5 years to 3 years, right? Because of the environment and the people that we're dealing with. Of course, you have capital, right? Capital is another beast that a lot of people, find very difficult to attract when Part of the reason also is that a lot of investors are very skeptical when it comes to, investing in different businesses in Africa, mainly because the infrastructure, the even the team that's running a business. Okay, so we faced those challenges initially, but as time went on, as we began to sharpen our skills, do a lot of R&D, developing our business model, we started to attract the right type of, those are some of the challenges that we face so far. Of course, there'll be more challenges, but by God's grace, we've been able to overcome majority of them.
Okay, so now you've mentioned the challenges. Can you share also what are some of the strategies you used in overcoming those challenges?
Okay, so number one is that when it comes to the culture or the people, for example, we have to make sure. So I'll use Rwanda. Rwanda, when it comes to their people, they take their people over anybody else. Okay, so we have to make sure that a lot of our workforce are Rwandese. Okay, they're Rwandese, so they're able to give us insight into things that we didn't know before. All right, how to navigate around the system, how to deal, or relate with people, relate with the government. When it comes to raising funds, so I've always been a strategist when it comes to raising capital. And one of the things that I believe in is the concept of proof of concept. Okay. So proof of concept basically means that in order for you to get people to invest in whatever you're doing, you need to show proof that whatever it is that you're doing actually works. Okay. So we've gone beyond the phase where you come up with a business plan and you expect somebody to drop thousands or millions because you have this perfect business plan. If people are going to give you money, you need to execute on your business and prove that it works. So one of the things that we focused on was to start proving that our business models actually work. And when foreigners, I'm talking about major corporations, when they started seeing that, our business model is actually needed, our business model works, then we just started attracting money from different people, right? So that's how we were able to, overcome the challenge of raising money. Of course, keep things going, but for the most part, we've been able to kind of deal with that.
Okay, so it's a bit slow, but I think you're a bit slow, but I got your message. So awesome stuff. So now to the last question I have for you. What are your projections? When you talk about the e-mobility subsector, right? Africa is not really coming up except for organizations like yours, that are trying to make sure that Africa's voice is heard, right? So what are your projections, seeing the fact that Africans have a very low economic power? So what are your projections in the next 5 years, on the ecosystem for the Rwanda industry, the African industry? So what can you project?
Yeah, things are going to be a lot different in the next 5 years, right, Ayobami? Because foreign organizations already see that Africa as a continent is where you need to be from an investment standpoint, right? A lot of manufacturers, companies are looking for the gateway to get into Africa. Okay, so when people like myself, people like you who are working inside that, e-mobility space and promoting, clean energy, they start looking for how to partner so that way they can get into the market. Outside of our companies, there are other companies in Rwanda. You take, for example, Volkswagen. Okay, Volkswagen is in Rwanda right now in the electric car space. So they're the only company in that space. So what you start to see, as they start to grow, other companies will start following suit. Okay, so Africa will very soon stop being the dumping ground for used cars with high bad pollution. And sooner or later, active market to promote clean energy, to promote e-mobility. We're sort of like the company that's laying the foundation that something like this can work in Africa. And as you know, Ayobami, once the foundation is laid for anything, it's easy to build from that point on. You see what I'm saying? So I see a lot of great things coming forth in the e-mobility space. I mean, there already stuff happening in places like Kenya. We just expanded our operation to Congo. By little, you start dominating different markets.
Okay, so do you have plans to expand to Nigeria anytime soon?
Yeah, Nigeria is a different beast, right? Because Nigeria is a great country, but for things to work in Nigeria, the infrastructure needs to be there. Okay. And you asked me a question earlier, why Africa, why Rwanda? The truth is, Ayobami, things work in Rwanda, right? And start your business and things will work because of the infrastructure and the policies put in place. Okay. So before we move into Nigeria, of course, we need the right partnerships. We need the right infrastructure to ensure that our business model can actually work in a place like Nigeria. But hopefully, we'll be in Nigeria in, some years down the road.
So awesome. It's been an amazing time with you today, Mr. Dipo. I do appreciate you spending your time on sharing strategies to sustainable energy future. Once again, my name is Ayobami Adedinni, and I'm the founder of the Energy Intelligence. What we seek to do is to champion the African voice in the energy transition narrative. And I hope with activities of people like you, our mission will be fulfilled. So once again, thank you so much. We do appreciate it.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Yes, sir.